to draw them in to hear a bit more about the movement. So I think we're going to take you back to the stage to come and hear the speeches of what's happening. We'll try and work our way forward to the front.
Okay. Turn the heat up bit by bit by bit, and that is what is happening here. The rights of our trade unions are being decimated, and it's harder for them to organise. Our rights to even stand on the street and use our voices or go near their beloved statue of Churchill is being decimated. And as activists fighting for people and for the planet, we need those rights. We need to be able to stand on the street and say things have to change now. But we also need to know when laws are right and when they're wrong, because at one time it was illegal for someone like me to walk the street or sit in a cinema next to people, and many of the people in this crowd. At one time it was illegal for a woman and a woman to love one another. So the law has not always been alongside what's morally right, and that law, even when it passed into the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Act, has not stopped me or many of us here from standing on the street and fighting tooth and nail, not only for the planet but for the people on it. But we are veering into a democracy-free police state. We are almost on our fourth unelected Prime Minister. And to be honest with you, I didn't think we could sink much lower than Boris Johnson. And I didn't think I'd ever quote a royal or a member of the royal family. But with Liz Truss, all I can say is, dear, oh dear. Dear, oh bloody dear. But we've got to fight it. We've got to fight this system that is absolutely putting the boot in with democracy, not just on the end of the right and the Tories, but with Labour too. If anyone's watched the Labour files, you will know what I am talking about. So I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure to be here and to be fighting alongside you, but I want you to keep your eye on something. As the Kill the Bill campaign, we managed to get some of the sharpest bits of the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Bill taken out, like the bit of legislation that prevented us from locking on, the bit of legislation that meant like activists like me who travel up and down the country because of restrictions placed on our movements and our cars search, and the bit of legislation that was particularly gunning for the black community that meant that suspicionless stop and searches, as in stop and searches regardless of what you have done, would be legal again. Now we got them taken out, but the Tories don't like to give up easily, and they've put it back into a piece of legislation. All of that stuff that the Lords, I mean, I'm not a fan of the Lords, but they fought for us, got it taken out with. It's now in a new piece of legislation called the Public Order Bill, and that's back in Parliament soon. So when we make the call and we say boots on the ground again, are you going to answer the call? Yeah! Are you going to fight with us? Yeah! Okay, I'm going to leave you with a chant. You probably know it. Basically, I'm going to say no justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
I said no justice!
No peace!
Wait for it. No racist!
Police!
Again, no justice!
No peace!
I said no justice!
No peace!
Again, no justice!
No peace!
And no racist!
Police!
And no racist!
Police!
And no racist!
Police!
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. See you later.
When she a star, mate. Some of the best out of Liverpool. End of story. Some of the best. We've got a lady called Claire Arkwright next. And this lass is part of the Climate Justice Coalition. They were formed in COP26, and they're an alliance of 200 groups, right? So, just to help her warm herself up while she comes here, what do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Come on! What do we want? When do we want it? Claire's going to give it large. Off you, Claire.
Hello everyone. Hi. I'm just gonna level with you that Chantel articulated it beautifully, and so I'm not gonna repeat her because I wouldn't want to mess it up. So I'm just gonna leave those words that she said, and Disraeli got us all dancing. And this woman here was bringing the hype. So I'm actually just going to keep it really simple, and give you a moment and an opportunity to take action. We've heard about the reasons why. So just to give you a bit of background about who I am and where I come from. So I have been a community organiser for the last 5 years in local communities, and all of the issues that I was working on, housing, safety, fuel poverty, food poverty, all of those issues I felt were only going to get worse if I didn't put my energies into tackling the climate crisis. So I started working for the Climate Justice Coalition, and if any of you were in, give me a shout if you were in Glasgow last year. Woo! So if you were in Glasgow last year, you will have been part of the COP26 coalition, which was a coalition of over 200 organisations that came together to basically run the kind of People's COP. And what they were able to achieve was massive. 250,000 people out on the street, which is the biggest climate demonstration in UK history. They were able to set up an immigration scheme to get people over from the global south. They set up a homestay scheme so that people could stay in different people's homes, so they didn't have to pay extortionate fees for accommodation in Glasgow. And they ran hundreds of workshops over COP26. Now COP27 is a very different picture. It's being held in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, and they do not have the same rights. I mean, as Egyptians are being locked up for exercising that right. I heard just the other day that somebody was imprisoned for just joining a Facebook group, not even starting it, joining it in a kind of organisation that was trying to put on a protest around COP. So our brothers and sisters in Egypt have called on us to take action for them and to take action with them in a way that they can't. So on November the 12th, we are calling demonstrations across the whole of the UK to take action and to show that not only that the climate movement is still strong and is still going, but that we are in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Egypt who cannot come out on the streets to protest. So it is fundamental to this movement, but also the movement for human rights, that we get out on the streets on the 12th of November. They have called a global day of action on that day. So we will be marching all across the country. If you want to know more information and you want to follow us, we're going through the transition of being COP26 Coalition into Climate Justice Coalition. So our Instagram and our Twitter is the COP26 Coalition, and there will be an email going out to XR members also, so that you can get all the details. But in London, we have an organising meeting on Monday. If anybody wants to join, please get in contact with your XR officials. And on, that's my time. So on Monday we have a meeting for the London organising team, but we will be meeting at the Shell Centre at 12 o'clock on the 12th of November. So please follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and yeah, thank you so much for listening and have a wonderful day.
Normally, I'm all about hyping the crowd out, let's get out there, let's do it, right? But right now, I need for us to just settle it down a little bit. So I'm going to ask a favour. I want you to get into pairs, and I want you to hold hands. Do me a favour. Do me a favour, find somebody and just hold their hands, all right? And I want you to look at them. Don't be a Norman No mates right now. I'm looking for you to find somebody, take a hand, and then I want you to sit the heck down. Take a hand, sit down. It's all right, your bum won't get too dirty. This stuff looks good that's on the deck, yeah? And I just want you to have a little look at the person you're holding hands with. All right? These are the people that we are down hardcore to fight this climate crisis and get what we need. And to help us along the way, I'm just going to introduce a user called Toby. He's the editor of Writers for Rebel's website. He's also the author of How to Tell a Story to Save the World. So all I want you to do now, just to welcome him in, is do a little hand raise. Welcome the man in. Welcome the man in.
Ah, so many people. Hello. I am close to the mic. We are going to speak to you from Writers Rebel. We started 3 years ago, almost exactly, Trafalgar Square. Was anyone at Trafalgar Square for the October Uprising? Yes, put your hands up. And we've done then since 3 other public events. We've done a reading right here. We've done videos. We've got a website. Please sign up for that. But 3 years ago, I mean, we started and it's our birthday. And, well, we haven't had any cards. We haven't had any cake. And no one sung us happy birthday. So because, you're starting spontaneously. So because it'll sound better and we care about scansion because we're like poets and stuff, I'm going to divide you in 2. And this side is going to sing Writers, happy birthday, Writers. And this side is going to sing Rebels. But I want to hear who's louder. So who on this side is going to sing happy birthday to you, Writers? Come on, you can do better. Rebels this side. Rebels! You see they're better. Writers, you've got to be louder than that. And you? Okay, so starting, we would love to hear you sing Happy Birthday to Writers Rebel on the count of 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Happy birthday to you. That was really atonal, thank you. That was really extreme. Our first reader today is Natasha Walter. She's the author of several really, really influential books, including Living Dolls and The New Feminism. Please give a very loud, warm welcome to Natasha Walter.
Thanks so much. It's wonderful to be here today among friends, among this resistance, among what I guess we now call the Anti-Growth Coalition. Well, that's a new term, but of course there's absolutely nothing new with being anti-growth. One of my favourite writers, Ursula Le Guin, wrote years ago that growth was, as she put it, the wrong metaphor for our society. Ursula Le Guin said, capitalist growth for at least a century has been growth in the wrong sense. Not only endless, but uncontrolled. Growth as in tumour, growth as in cancer. Our economy is sick, and as a result, our ecology is sick and getting sicker every day, perhaps fatally. At this time, at this rate, by the time we admit that cancer is not health, that we're sick, any cure must be so radical as to destroy more physically and morally than it can save. Wow, it's so sad to read Ursula Le Guin being so right. But then she said, if growth is the wrong metaphor for our society, what would our new metaphor be? Isn't it a matter of life and death to find the right metaphor now? A matter of life and death to find the right metaphor? Well, I'm speaking to you as a member of Writers Rebel, but on this, I really think we're all writers. You know, we're all trying to write this new chapter. We're all trying to think about what the new metaphor should be. So if growth is the wrong metaphor, what are we looking for? Maybe there are things that we still want to grow, yeah? Not that cancerous, tumorous kind of growth, but there are things we want to grow, like love, like hope, flowers, trees. And so thinking about that, I thought of a metaphor that Ursula Le Guin also gave us. One of her books was called The Word for World is Forest. And in recent years, scientists have given us new ways to think about a collection of individual trees all in competition for space and food, but as a network of many species working together in harmony. And another writer I absolutely love, the American poet Adrienne Rich, took that metaphor, the trees, and ran with it. Just going to give a few lines from her poem, What Kind of Times Are These? There's a place between two stands of trees where the grass grows uphill and the old revolutionary road breaks off into shadows. near a meeting house abandoned by the persecuted who disappeared into those shadows. I won't tell you where the place is, the dark mesh of the woods meeting the unmarked strip of light, ghost-ridden crossroads, leaf-mowed paradise, because I know already who wants to buy it, sell it, make it disappear. If I won't tell you where it is, why do I tell you anything? Because you still listen. Because in times like these, to have you listen at all, it is necessary to talk about trees. I think Adrienne Rich is right. It's necessary to talk about the trees. Not just scientifically, but to understand now what we're trying to grow. Because we're not just here in a spirit of destruction, are we? We're not just here to be anti-growth or anti-art or anti-democracy. We're for growth, a different growth that regenerates. Here in the faith that another world is possible. As Arundhati Roy said, another world is not only possible, she's on her way. And maybe many of us won't be here to greet her, but on a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. This is a quiet day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I could hear the cheers from the trees then, actually. It was quiet, but the trees are joining in. If you want to come and a bit closer or sit down at the back, thank you. Our next reader is B. Manzini. She is the winner of the Outspoken Poetry Prize 2020. She's a writer of Zimbabwean Zulu heritage. Please be outspoken in welcoming her to the stage now. B. Manzini.
Hello, 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 everyone. How are we doing? Good. So beautiful to see so many of you out today in all weathers. It was raining earlier. Now the wind has come to kiss our cheeks. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I'm going to share a short piece with you. I come from freedom fighters. So my parents helped to free what was then Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe, which is where I was born. So I have been an activist and walking and chanting and writing for as long as I have known. So this is a new piece that I wrote, and I need a little bit of help. Can you help me out? Okay, so in Zulu, when I say yebo, I'm saying yes. And your response is aibo, which is that you're in agreement with me. So when I say yebo, you say aibo. Yebo? Yebo? Let me be light. Let me be sea. Let me be sky. Let me be earth. Let me mirror the deepest of blue, the lushest of green, and the brightest hue. Illumination, illumination, illumination. Yebo. Yebo. I am longing and hoping for the kind of belly laugh that rumbles and shakes the body to joy. Yebo. Yebo. I'm longing for the kind of peace that stills the heart, for a planet where we can return to nature, to our nature. Yebo. Yebo. I am longing for the day my words don't leap from my throat, soar from battling isms and hatred. I am longing for my head to rest easy at night, to look up to an unpolluted sky and the simple light of stars. Yebo. Yebo. I am longing for demo, which means people, which means us, where borders created by lust and greed are superseded by love. Yebo. Yebo. I am longing for quiet singing and slow work where everyone's pay is fair. Yebo. Yebo. Longing We are longing isn't rotten, where our throats can soften, where the heart can hum, where our bellies are warm from food at a table with a seat for all, in a home with no walls, upon our healthy, loving mother called Earth. Yebo. 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 Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, B. Manzini. Wasn't that fantastic? I'm slightly taller than her. Up next is Nick Laird from Tyrone. He is currently the Seamus Heaney Professor of Poetry at Queen's University. He's won more prizes than can fit on this piece of paper, and he is going to read you something now. So Nick Laird, please, loud.
Thanks a lot. I'm even taller than Toby. So I'm a lyric poet. This is not our natural format. But I suppose, like you, I'm angry enough to come up here and make a fool of myself because I'm so angry at the government and angry at everyone else. It's not a question of adjusting to the new normal, adjusting to heat waves, to forest fires, to coral bleaching. There will be no normal. There will only be turmoil, carnage, ecological catastrophe. It's now and it's affecting us today. And listening to the scientists, so far everything has been worse than predicted. And everything is happening much faster than expected. It's clear something needs to happen. It's clear we need a revolution in our government's approach to climate policy, and that will need a revolution in our government, because the government is corrupt. In the UK, we have captured interests and a culture of impunity in British governance, and their inaction on the climate crisis is shocking and disgusting. Instead of meaningful change, we now have Jacob Rees-Mogg as Business Secretary and taking on responsibility for energy and climate change. This is a man who earlier this year said every last drop of oil and gas should be extracted from the North Sea. As a public, we have been atomised, separated, distracted. We need to change the pattern of obedience. We need to come together and exert the power we possess. And everything is happening much faster than expected. I'm going to read a little poem called Feedback. Hidden by the froth of apple blossom, the squirrel chirps at summer front, and at the skylight, a bee is trying to get out by going up, which won't do. And the sun is staring hard out of the bluest sky, and all the trees and plants strain upwards, outwards, as they must. And sanity, perhaps, is just an ability to punctuate, and the poem a simple way of saying something complicated, or the other way around. But anyway, it's tantamount to happiness, this, to be only where I am. And if I do not love the rock doves strutting mindlessly about, cooing stupidly, forever looking at me with the side eye, well, pigeons will be everywhere and always coming to my lawn. And if I focus on the neckerchiefs of purple tinged with emerald, there is something there to be connected, plus something in the way the hose in ever wider yellow loops negotiates the grass is how I might extend myself, extend what's meant by us. That word the poet often thought each person must define alone. And the grass is brown and dead, and everything is happening much faster than expected. But my work is seasonal, and this is the kind you do in spring when everything is meant to be returning. And the experts were all right, and then were not all right, concerned, worried, stunned, aghast, despairing. And I read once, flabbergasted, all the experts flabbergasted at how the losses multiplied, weight to overwhelm, and the wheels are coming off the thing, even if the bee persists against the glass, and the squirrel shakes the blossom as it moves through, still sore. And it is I that am nothing today. It is I that put away my grief. And reader, as you go about your afternoon or evening, be sure to send my best. Please give my love, I mean, to everyone, to everything. Thanks very much.
Thank you for staying. It's going to be, well, when I did A-level English, I always wondered what wuthering in Wuthering Heights meant, and I know now. This is wuthering, this weather, so you're wuthering with it. Our next reader is Jay Griffiths. She is an absolute star in a world of environmental writing. I don't mean to say that. She's written a book called Wild, which will rip your heart out and give it back to you, beating even more powerfully than it was to start with. So, Jay Griffiths is with us now.
Imagine if our food were brought to us by dedicated and almost invisible angels. Imagine them flying, effortless and iridescent. Imagine if those mysterious beings kept alive almost the entire living world, including birds, animals, and ourselves. Imagine if these angels also gently and tactfully disposed of the dead, tucking the bodies back into a deep bed of earth to re-become life in another form. Without them, we would wade through corpses with every step we took. I wish that everyone who said they believed in angels would actually believe in insects. They do not take the title of angels, being by nature bashful and unassuming. They go by other names: firefly, bee, ant, caddisfly. A secret commonwealth. The insect realm encompasses more species than we have identified. The insects, hallowed be thy names, some of which are pure poetry. The orchid bee, coloured in bronze and ultramarine purple and gold. The ladybird, the glass-winged butterfly, the emerald swallowtail. Recent studies are clear about the collapse of the insect world. Gone within one generation is the windshield phenomenon, whereby driving in summer, you'd have to stop frequently to clean the insects from the windscreen, while the moth snowstorm, a blizzard of moths in the headlights, was the experience of every night drive. Hidden in their very multitudes, insects are together a gigantic collective of kindness, dancing in constant attendance to living things. They pollinate 3/4 of our food crops and 80% of wild-flowering plants. From their actions flow the countless forms of life, from the apple blossom to bread and roses and the silver salmon, everything that has ever flowered and ever will. And from physical life flows everything to be treasured in human life, from existence itself to the highest of the arts. No insects, no Van Gogh, no sunflowers, no art, no music, no beauty, no wings of the mind. Imagining a world without wings fills me with inconsolable sorrow. A wren, hungry and songless, a swift dropping to its death, the air emptied of life. Without them there'd be no chorus of frogs or birdsong. To them we owe everything, my life and yours and yours and yours. Without them, starvation would stalk the land for almost every kind of creature, including ourselves. Please tell me you understand the immensity of this, and if you don't, please think, alone and quietly perhaps, of the unfolding ending. Let me speak simply into the simplicity of your heart then, and let me just ask you what you love, what makes you happy. Is it a child? Is it a partner? Do you love your friend or your dog, your cats, your church, your home, your garden, your books perhaps, the poetry you make or the music? And this love, then, this happiness that you hold so dear, tell me how it will even exist without the tiniest of beings, the insects, against which we have been so utterly pitiless. It was the studies of insect collapse reported late in 2018 that first made me cry for insects. The horror of it swept over me, and I cried for 3 days, because I saw in one awful moment a vision of the desolated world, a devastated wasteland. After an eternity of insect blessing, we're destroying them in a single psychopathic generation. I don't want to be lyrical now. I just want to swear. The collective stupidity renders all my craft useless, because what writer's art can ever convey the vast, deadly, and deliberate slaughter, with all its consequences that are, in sum, the sum of it all, the everything? Where to go with this gigantic stupidity? What the fuck did we think we were doing? And why the fuck are we still doing it? Intensive agriculture is killing us by killing the insects. If I sent a tweet, I would write only this: mass use of insecticides leads to mass death of insects. And I'm like, duh, who knew? Insecticides should be made illegal overnight. Every scrap of land turned to organic agriculture. Every shred of mental energy requisitioned for love, essentially, the love of life. And the magnitude of this situation silences me. The words I lean towards are not enough. Tears, maybe. The raw scream of rage and pity, perhaps. But what words do you suggest I use here? Annihilation, the end of worlds, the last generation, absolute apocalypse. If we were looking this full in the face, what expresses it sufficiently? And then a savage anger overcomes me. This is not a game. Nature is not a hobby. It's the life on which we depend. Thank you.
Now I know that you are really glad to have at least one person here whose hand you can hold, because that got me. Did it get you? So please be as loud as Jay was quiet, and as alive as that was about death, for our next speaker. This is Jessica Townsend. She is kind of the conscience of Writers Rebel. We write on climate. We have a website, please sign up. We have a newsletter, please sign up. But we also are activists. We are also out on the street. We're also doing stuff with our bodies. And that's the key message, I think, and that's the key message going forward. So please welcome Jessica Townsend, who's going to tell you about a campaign that she is pushing forwards and that you can help with. Jessica Townsend.
That close? Thank you. I feel like the profane act after the beautiful main course, but I'll cope. So my name's Jessica Townsend, and I've been working in denialism within XR and within Writers Rebel, and now we have a new initiative which is called MP Watch that's launching today. It started with Steve Baker Watch. Some of you may have been at the Townsend event that we did a couple of years ago, and after that there was some arrests and a court case, and I was one of the people who did criminal damage on that occasion. And yeah, but thank you. But after the court case, I was feeling a bit low because we hadn't got all that much coverage, and we didn't seem to be punching through. And I was sitting with my mate Tom Hardy, and I was saying, wouldn't it be great if we could go into Steve Baker's constituency and mess him up from on the ground? Steve Baker was a trustee of the Global Warming Policy Foundation, and after having been the hard man at Brexit, he decided, instead of fighting for the climate, for the existential threat that we all face, he decided to go in with the climate deniers. So we had that thought, and then 1 week later I got a phone call, and the person on the other end said, my name's Gemma, I'm from XR High Wycombe, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be great to work against Steve Baker in High Wycombe? So thus began Steve Baker Watch, and we are now rolling out several other watch groups across the country, particularly in the constituencies of denialist groups. And in Steve Baker's constituency, we have leafleted every constituent in Wickham to say, your MP is a denialist. Did you know that? We have held a vigil outside his Conservative offices every Friday for most of the year saying, this guy is a denier. We've written letters to the local press saying what he says about the climate is wrong and this is why. We've also taken out space in the local paper and written our own articles about why he's wrong. And on one occasion, Gemma and I followed him into a Global Warming Policy Foundation meeting in the House of Commons, which really surprised him. I'd love to say a bit more about that, but I think Toby might drag me off by my neck if I did that. We didn't even have to make stuff up about Steve Baker, because this is what Steve Baker said to the Telegraph. There's all sorts of things I'd like to do in Wickham, with pavements and potholes, healthcare, schools, ending food bank dependency, but I'm afraid I've got this mind that expands to bigger horizons. Steve Baker said that on the public record. Okay, so now we're launching Rees-Mogg Watch, Suella Braverman Watch, and a few other tasty morsels. So before I go, we have a website and a crowdfunder, and we have leaflets around, so please find us out and contribute. We are of the school of XR, like everything, more or less. So what are MPs for? Are they to go on telly and talk bullshit and lies about their party, even while the interviewer knows they're talking bullshit and all the audience knows that they're talking that? You would think that that might be what they're for. Are they to vote with the party whip, even if the party whip is saying, let's vote to get, not to stop human excrement going into your rivers and seas? Is that what they're for? You might think that. Wikipedia says that MPs are to act, their first responsibility is to act in the national interest. Their second responsibility is to act for their constituents. So where is the climate on these people's agenda? Because surely that is number one and number two of their agenda. So before I go, I'd like to just do a little bit of a survey. How many of you think that your MP has a clue about the climate and the biodiversity crisis? Hands up, please. You're probably from Brighton. Reading, all right. How many of you think that your MP has read the IPCC reports or summaries? Less? How many of you feel that your MP goes to bed at night and does not sleep because he or she feels that they maybe haven't done enough to safeguard your future? Even saying that sounds surreal, doesn't it? As if there is a world where human beings can act positively for one another on a national stage. It feels right now like some kind of Disney movie. Okay, so write to your MP, get meetings with your MP, and when you meet your MP, how about trying this? Hey, Suella Braverman. Hey, Jacob Rees-Mogg. Hey, Sally Ann Hart. You have your job because your constituents have voted you in, and because the general public are paying for your salary. And both those groups need you to get your finger out and to start acting with urgency on the climate and ecological emergency. Because right now I cannot sleep for thinking of the future that my children and my grandchildren are facing because of the flooding, the heat waves, the famine and the social disorder that is threatening. Why not give it to them straight? We need you to represent us, not Tufton Street, not big oil, not water, not the hedge funds, and not the billionaire press. You work for us. And if you cannot work for us as one human for another, for a group of another, if you cannot find your hearts to do that, excuse me, children, get the fuck out.
Thanks so much. I mean, it's been amazing to hear all these words. We've had some amazing music and poetry and speeches. And I just want to say, in an hour's time, there'll be a chance to act. So there's a big action happening called Cover the Capital. We have thousands of tube posters, hundreds of bus stop ads, and we've got people distributed across the whole city to help us all do a mass subvertising action tonight, so that people in London, when they wake up tomorrow morning, will find that all of those spaces have been reclaimed with messages of science, on the urgency of this emergency, as well as our solutions in the form of deliberative democracy. So stick around at 5:30. We'll help get people into groups. We'll send you on your way. We'll give you all the things you need. Just wanted to pass that on.
Thank you. And please, another round of applause for Jessica. And we will watch our MPs more closely. I think we're watching them as closely as we feel likely. That image of Jacob Rees-Mogg pulling his finger out is going to haunt me. Of what? And the children here, they got to swear. Excellent. Not only dancing, and you expose them to folk music and beats, but also the F. So, our last reader out of our 6 is Selena Gordon. She is the author of Mrs. Death. She is a fellow of the Royal Society of Literature, and she rocks, quite frankly. So please could you welcome her, because she's going to blow me off the stage.
Come on! Hello! How are you doing? Good. Well, I'm very nervous, very excited. It's an honour to be asked to speak here, but I'm not going to say another word until you give a massive round of applause for every single person who's organised this. Every single person who's spoken on this stage, and everybody that's here today, give yourselves a round of applause. Exactly. And every week another protest. Rising, rumbling, raging fires. And every day yet more contradiction. Spreading fear and fake news lies. Now sing to me of bread and roses, that we may live and dream, desire. Take bread and roses to our food banks, to borders, fences and barbed wire. In every city we will rally, the people's unrest mounting higher. Democracy, equality, accountability. Come on, sing it with me louder as one choir. We do not ask for what is not needed. Clean air, water, a whole earth we aspire. And so every day, another protest, rising, rumbling, raging fires. May we all sing of bread and roses. Our united love will feed hope and inspire. There they go again, filling your mouth with their name. There they go again, adding more weight to your burden. There they go again, giving you all the anxiety whilst telling you not to panic. There they go again, when the panic is deeply rooted in centuries of there they go again. There they go again, contradicting their own rules, double speak and double standards. There they go again. Your dared are statistics, your ghosts live in hashtags. There they go again, getting away with murder, but calling it anything else. There they go again, doing nothing, as your vulnerable and sick and dying need all your love and care, and your living need all your focus, energy and time. There they go again, filling your plate with their jobs and the work they should do as your elected leaders. There they go again, dominating your thoughts so no work can get done. There they go again, grimacing on the front page, hogging the limelight with this theatre of performative cruelty. There they go again, suffocating light and hope like a pillow held fast over the face of the kicking and struggling truth. There they go again, consuming all the oxygen and rewriting history. There they go again, like it's all about them, but it is because of them, and it is in spite of them. There they go again, obscuring the facts, blurring the edges, blinkering the horse, filtering the picture. There they go again. There they go again. There they go again. And it is not the names of the dead and extinct, nor the name of the nurse. It is not the name of the innocent. It is their name in your mouth. How can it be that when you wake in the night, wailing and mourning and hurting, they are marching on your tongue? They are renting your insomnia. There they go again, using your anguish as garnish, using your defense as an attack, using your fear to divide you, using your rage to pass draconian laws, using your pain to sell shit back to you, using your grief to decorate newspapers, using your anger to kill you. Because there they go again, casting an arse in the lead role. The wealthy politician in the spotlight, the hideous clown gets top billing, the monster as the headline act. And your horror gets a walk-on part. Your mourning cries are extras. Your fury is the chorus line. Your humanity, the supporting cast. While justice waits in the wings. While justice waits in the wings. While justice waits in the wings. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to do one more piece. This piece, some of you might know, this is called Pessimism is for Lightweights. Pessimism is for? I said pessimism is for? I said pessimism is for? I said pessimism is for? Louder, pessimism is for? 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 Think of those that marched this road before, and those that will march here in years to come. The road in shadow, the road in sun, the road before us, and the road all done. History is watching us. And what will we become? This road is all flags and milestones. Immigrant blood and sweat and tears built this city, built this country, made this road last all these years. This road is made of protest. And those not permitted to vote. And those that are still fighting to speak with a boot stamping on their throat. Now there is a power and strength in optimism. To have faith and to stay true to you. Because if you can look in the mirror, and have belief and promise you will share wonder in living things, beauty, dreams, books, art. Love your neighbour and be kind and have an open heart, well then you're already winning at living. You speak up, you show up, you stand tall. It's silence that is complicit. It's apathy that is hurting us all. Pessimism is for lightweight. This road was never easy or straight. But I believe living is all about living alive and lively. And I know love will conquer hate. Thank you. Pessimism is for... pessimism is for... pessimism, 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 pessimism is for...
Thank you very much. Yes, yes. We have been Writers Rebel. Other people have been involved. Monique Ruffy, she programmed this. We got Sharon here and Paul holding the banner. We got James down the front who tweets like a bastard. Okay, so I'm just going to thank everyone. Can you please give a big hip hip hooray when I say each of them, because I'm feeling in that Jacob Rees-Mogg kind of pulling my finger out thing. Could you give a hip hip hooray for Natasha Walter? For P. Manzini? For Nick Laird? For Jay Griffiths? For Jessica Townsend? And for Selena Gordon. Thank you very much. We've been Writers Rebel.
Wow. What? Hold on, that was amazing, wasn't it? I just love Pessimism is for Lightweights. It is the thing that gets me going on the days when you get down. I read that poem and it gets me going again. But now we're just going to have Nuala, is that right? Is going to talk to us about how we take this message out. How we take this message out and bring double the people back, triple the people back. If we all brought 3 friends and had an R rating of 1.3, we could beat the virus, couldn't we? So anyway, here's Nuala.
Hi everyone. Some of you have heard this before, some of you haven't. Hopefully it bears repeating. So, Extinction Rebellion is a mass movement, and it's a mass movement because we know it's going to take thousands of us working together to make change. And luckily, empowering large numbers of people to take action together is exactly what we're good at as a movement. It's exactly what we're experts at. In fact, Frank Hewitson from Greenpeace paid us a great compliment when he said that XR had democratized direct action. So right now our government is trying to scare people away from protest with the PCSC Act and the Public Order Bill. But they're fighting a losing battle. The government are fighting a losing battle because everyday people are moving in the direction of sanity, in the direction of stopping the harm, in the direction of responding to the crisis. So there was a Yale study earlier this year that found that 5% of Americans say that they would take non-violent civil disobedience on the climate. That's a game-changing number, 5%. In August this year, Ipsos did some polling in the UK, and they found that 8 out of 10 people are concerned about the climate crisis. And 52% of people in the UK think that reaching net zero by 2050 is too late. So let's think about what that means. That means over 36 million people in the UK know that our government don't have a credible plan. So there is a force for good in the world. It's people, it's us. We want a future, we want fairness, we want a good life for ourselves, and we want a good life for everyone else. We want to live in a world where it's not okay that 7 million people get displaced by floods in Pakistan. We want to live in a world where we don't just carry on as normal while 20 million people on the Horn of Africa face extreme hunger because the rains have failed to come for 4 years in a row. We want to live in a world where we don't accept that young people live in a constant state of fear about their future. We want a chance to stop being bystanders. So Liz Truss may call us the Anti-Growth Coalition. And every time she does that, she helps a broader and broader range of people understand that they want the same things. A fair, kind future where equality means more than GDP. So that's why we've got a plan to bring 100,000 people to Parliament next April. So someone did some calculations and it turns out if 100,000 people surround the Palace of Westminster, that's a crowd 100 deep. And that's pretty difficult to ignore. So the plan to get there is called 100 Days. It's 100 days of planning at the national, regional, local level. And then in January, we launch a campaign that runs for 100 days and we launch it together up to April 21st. We'll design a coordinated outreach plan that takes everything we've learned from Project 3.5 over the last year and allows us to be more than the sum of our parts while leaving room for what works locally in all of our different communities. But this can't just be an XR plan. We need to work to build relationships locally and nationally with other groups and movements. We know we're in a moment of huge potential for change. So Ipsos, who I mentioned earlier, when they started doing polling, since they started doing polling, faith in the government has never been lower than it is right now. We also know that the trade union movement in this country is stronger than it's been in decades. And we've seen that big NGOs like the RSPB have had enough of the government's attack on nature, and they're talking about mobilising their members. So for decades, we've been told that our power to change the situation we're in lies in our choices as individuals. But the truth is, none of us can do this alone. We need each other. So sign up to be there on April 21st, and we'll find out what we can do when thousands of us work together. Thank you.
Yeah, oh my days, son. My days, son. How you lot doing? You're still hanging with us? Right, I've got a little point of information. Where's the Manchester crew in the house? Is there any Manchester crew? We got 1, 2. We have a rebel here called CJ, and nickname is Spidey, who would like to meet some of his Manchester crew. So if anyone's from Manchester, please come down here and help the fella, because he's an elder. All right, so just want to start that off. The last thing is, never give me the platform of a stage. I get to play the music that I want. All right, forget that. Forget that. The stage manager has had me, and I'm looking for someone called Stevitt, who is from the Palestine Action, who used civil disobedience to get companies to break with Israel's apartheid regime and end Britain's complicity in the military occupation of Palestine. Tactics include large protests, road blocking, occupations, paint throwing, graffiti, property damage, and then sharing onto social media. Welcome her!
Thank you. So I'm Stav, Palestine Action activist, an Israeli dissident. got recently released from jail. 30 days. So I'm here to speak about Elbit Systems. Elbit Systems is Israel's #1 arms company, the main manufacturer of killer drones, which are produced right here at our doorstep. Elbit System is marketing its weapon as battle-tested, which means that with each and every onslaught on Gaza, Elbit is able to enhance its profit and to expand globally to oppress not just the people of Palestine, but also people in Kashmir, Yemen, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Palestine Action has built a network of activists who are taking effective, direct action against Elbit System with one goal in mind, which is to shut Elbit down. Yeah, they do that by putting themselves on the line, by sacrificing their freedom, sacrificing their bodies. They do that with full awareness that it's the only effective method to shut a murderous war machine down. They do that knowing that whatever suffering they might endure, it's nothing in comparison to what Palestinians must face every day under the apartheid system. Direct action is the only effective tactic. Palestine Action seeks no permission. And the catastrophe of 1948, the ethnic cleansing of Palestine, is happening still. It is happening still, and it's an ongoing crime. And not only that the racist Zionist state is continuing its oppression, continuing its apartheid, colonization, they also seek to cut a profit on these abominable crimes. This is exactly why it is up to us, privileged individuals who live right here in the imperial core, to take action to say that we will not confirm a business model that is based on genocide. We will not conform a business model that is based on genocide. All forms of oppression are interconnected. Just imagine what the arms trade, what kind of effect the arms trade has on the ecosphere. Just imagine that. And this is why it is completely up to us to state that this abominable crime must end. This is why we must seek and demand and resist by seeking no permission, demanding the freedom of others, not just our freedom, knowing that until everybody is free, we are not free until everybody is free. Thank you. Long live Palestine! Long live freedom!
Well, we've had some great speakers today, and that was another one, speaking on some really, really hard issues. And just to add to, it's not going to add to what was already said, but what is going on in Iran right now should empower every woman here to help the Iranian women, help the Iranian population. Look online. The most important thing is to amplify what they are talking about with their videos, what's happening to their women, what's happening to the younger generation. I've even bothered to look at TikTok. I'm 50. I really don't understand TikTok. but that's the medium that most people are using. Please, please retweet what's going on. Please, please do the campaigns that they ask for. Like there's a fellow who's done an Iranian song that they're trying to make sure hits the Grammys. So please do not be inactive. Show your support for the Iranians and do some support for them, all right? Let's just have a little cheer for the Iranians because they're doing a massive job in bringing democracy to their country. The last thing is, I've got the opportunity to put music on that I want. Now please dance if you feel like it. Come on. Does anybody know it? Does anybody know it? You're all sitting on your asses. What's that about? Come on. Let's bring this energy back up. Yes, I
Yeah? Okay. We'll give you the final word. Like, what do you want to protect, or nature, or whatever the message is that you want to share? So we're going to wrap up from here at Hyde Park. We're going to Hyde Park tomorrow at the Tate Modern in the Gardens. It's been an absolutely inspirational and inspiring day of poets, musicians, experts sharing their knowledge and wisdom with us. But I just want to give the youth the final word today. What is it that you would like to say?
We've only got one world and you need to protect it if you want to live a happy and long life. And all the things around us, nature and rivers and streams and ponds and oceans, they're all part of our world and we need to protect it.
Oh, I could not have said that better myself. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed today, and we might see you tomorrow. There's a march taking place. We're meeting at 10:30 in Hyde Park at the Reformers Tree. We're going on a youth-led march, delivering a baby oak sapling to Parliament Square. Please do come and join us. For more information, go to the XR website. If you can't be here, please like, share, or donate. And thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Oh, that was... Thanks. Well done, Rich. You did a great job there.